name, Frank Miller, is what is written on the plastic bracelet clamped around my wrist. I am also told that I am unwell. I am not alone, and so are the 17 other people that were told the same when we all experienced this event. Here, in the quiet, sterile halls of the Northwood Recovery Center, we are the broken pieces of a single, impossible moment. There is the retired schoolteacher from Ohio, the young couple on their honeymoon, the college student with his headphones. We are a tour bus of strangers, now bound by a shared, unspeakable truth. We are all patients here. We are all unwell. In our group therapy sessions, the story of a terrible bus accident is recounted. We are told of a gas leak, of shared hallucinations, of minds fractured by a collective trauma. A plausible, tidy explanation is given for why 18 separate lives were shattered in the exact same way. We are encouraged to talk about the grief and the confusion, but never about what was actually seen by us. We are forbidden to speak of it, but the knowledge is passed in the silent, knowing glances across the common room. It is seen in the flinch of the young woman from Portland when a doctor mentions unidentified wildlife. It is felt in the heavy silence that falls when the word hoax is seen on the television. We were not hallucinating. We were not confused. We were witnesses. Yes, it was a giant Sasquatch dead on the road, and we are the ones who saw it. My name is Frank Miller. I am 48 years old. For 25 of those years, the life of a long-haul trucker has been lived by me. More miles have been driven by me than most people will in 10 lifetimes. Every sunrise and sunset this country has to offer has been seen by me. From the swamps of Louisiana to the peaks of the Rockies. The difference between a deer and an elk in the dead of night is known by me. The shape of a bear as it bolts across the road is known by me. What is real and what is not is known by me. I am not unwell. I am being silenced. The event called mundane by them was the night a Sasquatch was killed by me with a Peterbilt 389, while a speed of 80 miles an hour was being done down US Route 2. The fantasy they say was created by me is the truth. A truth so massive and inconvenient that a decision has been made by them to bury me along with it. Everything was taken from me that night. My truck, my phone, my career, my freedom. But one mistake was made by them. I was left with my memories, and I was left with a pen and this stack of perfectly blank, perfectly harmless paper. Writing is encouraged by my therapist, Dr. Finch. It is called narrative therapy by him. He wants my feelings, my childhood, the stress of my job to be written about by me. Every last detail. From the squeal of the tires to the smell of the blood, to the look in the eyes of the men by whom it was all cleaned up. It is not being written for him, though. It is being written for you, whoever you are. I am watched, of course. I am checked on by the orderlies every hour. What is left on the desk is read by Dr. Finch, so what is wanted by him will be given. Pages and pages about stress and loneliness on the road. But this, the real story, will be written by me at night. The pages will be hidden by me under the loose floor tile beneath my bed. How it will be gotten out of here is not known by me. But it is known by me that this story needs to be told. Because it was not just my life that was taken. Proof was taken. But before my phone was taken, something was managed by me that is not known by them. A photo was sent. Just one. It was a desperate, fumbling act in the dark, but it is thought by me that it went through. That photograph is the reason I am in here. It is the reason I cannot just be let go. I was not locked up because I am thought to be crazy. I was locked up because it is known that I am not. So let me tell you what really happened on that cold, clear night in the Cascade Mountains. Let me tell you about what is now known as the Stevens Pass incident. The night it happened was a Tuesday, October 12th. A run from Seattle to Green Bay was being made by me, and a full load of Washington apples was being hauled. It was a good run, a profitable one. Good time was being made. The air coming through my cracked open window was sharp and cold, and the smell of pine and impending winter was in it. The sky was clear, and the stars were blazing, the kind of brilliant display that is only gotten deep in the mountains, far from the city's orange glow. My route on US Route 2 was taking me east. For those by whom it is not known, that stretch of road is one of the loneliest and most beautiful in America. After the suburbs of Seattle are left behind, the highway climbs, twisting and turning its way up into the Cascade Mountains. It is a 2-lane blacktop ribbon that has been cut through millions of acres of dense, dark national forest. To your left and right, there is nothing but colossal Douglas firs and hemlocks. A solid wall of ancient trees that have stood for centuries. At night it is a different world. It is just you, your headlights, and the white lines being spooled out in front of you. An hour can be gone without another vehicle being seen. The darkness outside the reach of your high beams is absolute. That night, the road was empty. The ski resort at Stevens Pass had been passed, its empty chairlifts hanging like skeletons against the starry sky. The downhill grade was now being descended, heading towards Leavenworth. It was just after 2 a.m. My thermos of coffee was half empty. A classic rock station was being crackled softly on the radio, and the 18-wheeler was humming along, a familiar and comforting rumble. A good feeling was had by me. Alert. The road was straight for a couple of miles here. My high beams were on. A path of brilliant white light was being cut about a quarter mile ahead. My speed was steady, maybe 80, maybe a little more. The rig was heavy, and momentum was given to it by the downhill grade. It came out of the trees on my right. It was not a deer, its white tail being flicked as it leaped. It was not a bear, a low, dark shape being lumbered across the asphalt. This was different. My first impression was of size and speed. It was enormous, and it was being moved with an explosive, fluid power that had never been seen by me before. It happened in a fraction of a second, the way these things always do. One moment, there was just the empty road in my headlights. The next, a colossal, man-shaped figure was right there, caught in the full glare of my beams. It could not be processed by my brain. It was like a scene from a movie, too surreal to be real. It was upright, running on 2 long, powerful legs. Its body was covered in thick, dark hair, matted and shaggy. Its arms were long, being swung in a powerful, athletic stride. It was not running from me. The road was being run across by it, as if it were just an inconvenient clearing in its forest. Its head was turned to look at my truck, and its face was seen by me. It was for less than a second, but the image has been seared into my brain like a brand. It was not the face of an ape. It was not the face of a man. It was something in between, and something much older. A flat, broad nose, a heavy brow ridge. And the eyes, they were dark, and the light of my headlights was reflected by them. But underneath that reflection, a flicker of something was seen that can only be described by me as intelligence, surprise, and maybe even anger. Time was not had by me to brake. Time was not even had to swerve. At 80 miles an hour, a fully loaded semi-truck is not stopped on a dime. It is not even stopped on a football field. It is a freight train on rubber wheels. All that could be done was for the steering wheel to be gripped, my knuckles being turned white, and for the impact to be braced for. The sound was apocalyptic. A deafening, wet crunch of bone and flesh was heard, followed by the shriek of tortured metal. The entire cab of my truck was shuddered, a violent, bone-jarring jolt that I was thrown against my seatbelt by. The windshield was exploded inward, and I was showered with a galaxy of shattered safety glass. The thing's body, impossibly heavy, was thrown up onto the hood. Its massive form the grille was shattered by, and the engine compartment was crumpled by like it was made of tinfoil. The truck was veered violently to the right, the tires screaming in protest. The wheel was fought by me, trying to keep the rig on the road. But the weight was too much, the damage too severe. The truck was jackknifed, the trailer being swung around in a terrifying, unstoppable arc. I was just a passenger at that point. The world became a chaotic nightmare of sound and motion. The groan of bending steel, the roar of the engine as it was died. The sickening sound of my cargo of apples being crushed in the trailer. The truck was finally scraped to a halt, half on the road, half in the ditch. The trailer was slewed across both lanes. The highway was blocked completely by it. Silence. The sudden, ringing silence was almost as shocking as the impact. The engine was ticked as it cooled. The radio was dead. The only sound was my own ragged, desperate breathing and the frantic, panicked thumping of my heart. I was alive. I was shaking, covered in glass, but I was alive. For a moment, I just sat there, and an attempt was made to understand what had just happened. The acceptance was refused by my mind. A bear was hit by me. It had to be a bear, a massive, freakishly large grizzly bear. But it was known by me that that was a lie. Its face had been seen. Its two-legged stride had been seen. Slowly, my training and instincts were kicked in. The damage needed to be checked. Flares needed to be set out. Help needed to be called for. My seatbelt was unbuckled, my hands trembling, and the buckled door of my cab was pushed open. I was climbed down onto the cold, hard asphalt, my legs unsteady beneath me. The air was filled with the acrid smell of burnt rubber, diesel fuel, and something else. A thick, coppery, gamey smell. The smell of blood. And that's when what was left of it was seen by me. The thing that had been hit. It was lying in the middle of the road, tangled in the wreckage of my truck's front end. And the sight of it, even broken and dead, the hair on my arms was made to stand up, and a cold, primal fear was made to grip my heart. It was not a bear. It was not anything that had ever been seen by me before. And it was known by me, right then and there. The scene in my headlights was a tableau from hell. My truck was a mangled wreck, and steam was being hissed from the ruptured radiator. The asphalt was littered with shattered glass and twisted metal. And in the middle of it all, illuminated in the one remaining, flickering headlight, was the body. Roadkill has been seen by me my whole life. Deer, coyotes, raccoons. It is always a sad, messy sight. This was different. This was monumental. The sheer scale of it was hard to be comprehended. It was sprawled on its back, its limbs splayed at unnatural angles. It was easily 8, maybe 9 feet long. The body was thick, powerful, a mass of muscle and matted, dark reddish-brown hair that was now soaked in blood. A few hesitant steps were taken closer, my boots crunching on the broken glass. The gamey, musky odor was overpowering. It was the smell of a wild animal, but richer, deeper, and mixed with the sickeningly sweet smell of its lifeblood, which was being pooled in a dark, thick puddle on the road. Its legs were what were noticed first by me. They were long and powerfully muscled, shaped like a human's but on a mythic scale. One leg was horrifically broken. The bone was jutted out through the hairy skin. The feet were enormous, at least 20 inches long, with 5 distinct, man-like toes, the nails thick and yellowed like old ivory. My eyes were forced upward, past the barrel-chested torso, to the arms. They were long and ended in huge, 5-fingered hands. The hands were what truly shook me.
They were not paws. They were hands, with opposable thumbs, calloused palms, and thick, dirty fingernails. One hand was clenched into a fist, as if in a final, defiant spasm. The other was open, palm up, in a strangely human gesture. My flashlight beam was trembled as it was directed towards the head. The force of the impact had been catastrophic. The skull was partially crushed on one side, but the face was mostly intact. It was the same face that had been seen by me for a split second before the crash. The heavy brow, the broad, flat nose, the wide mouth with thick, pale lips were pulled back in a death grimace, and large, yellowish teeth that were more human than ape were revealed. The eyes were open, and the starry sky was being stared at blankly by them. They were dark, deep-set, and even in death a spark of something profound, something ancient and intelligent was held by them.
And an attempt was being made to process the impossible reality in front of me. A strange mix of terror, awe, and even sadness was felt by me. Something magnificent had just been killed by me. Something that had been managed to hide from the modern world. A ghost of the deep wilderness. And it had been obliterated by me with a ton of steel and a heavy foot. Then, a new thought was cut through the shock. Proof. This would never be believed by anyone. I would be called crazy. It would be said by them that a bear was hit and that my mind, rattled by the crash, had filled in the fantastic details. My phone. I was scrambled back to the cab, my movements clumsy and urgent. The inside was a wreck, but my phone had been tossed onto the passenger seat and was miraculously intact. The screen was cracked, but it was lit up when the button was pressed. A weak signal was had. 1 bar. It was enough. My hands were shaking so badly the camera could barely be operated. I was stumbled back towards the body, my heart hammering. This needed to be documented. Every angle, every detail. Pictures started to be taken. The flash a series of frantic, desperate strobes in the darkness. A picture of the face, the dark, intelligent eyes was taken. A picture of the huge, human-like hand, its fingers curled slightly, was taken. A picture of the massive, toed foot next to my own size 12 boot for scale was taken. The difference was comical, terrifying. Wide shots of the whole scene were taken. The body, the wrecked truck, the blocked highway. Picture after picture was taken, my thumb jabbing at the screen, a paranoid fear growing in me that the phone would die, or the body would somehow vanish into thin air. After about 20 photos were taken, it was known by me that something else had to be done. The single bar of cell service was flickering. It was not known how long it would last. 911 could not just be called. What would be said? A Bigfoot has been hit, and the highway is being blocked by it? A psych eval team, not a tow truck, would be sent. My brother Dave was thought of. He lived in Spokane. He was a bit of a conspiracy nut, into all sorts of weird stuff. He would be believed by me. More importantly, it would be known by him what to do, who the pictures should be sent to. My messaging app was opened, my fingers feeling fat and clumsy. The best photo was selected, the one that the creature's face was shown most clearly by. A frantic, misspelled message was typed. Dave, call me now. Hit something huge on US 2. Need help. Send was hit. The little circle was spun, and spun, and spun. For a terrifying moment, it was thought that it would not go through. Then, the circle was turned into a tiny check mark. Delivered. A wave of relief was washed over me. It was out there. The proof was out there. Whatever happened next, I was not the only one who knew. 911 was attempted to be called then, but the call would not be connected. The single bar of service was gone. I was alone out here, on a dark, remote highway with a wrecked truck and the body of a creature from myth and legend. A decision was made to set out my emergency flares, to warn any oncoming traffic. They were grabbed from my cab, and the road was started to be walked down, away from the wreck. The night was cold and silent again, the only sound the crunch of my boots on the glass-strewn asphalt. 2 flares had been placed, and I was walking back towards my truck when the headlights were seen. They were coming from the east, the direction I had been heading. Thank God, it was thought. Help is here. A state trooper, maybe. But as the headlights got closer, it was realized that something was wrong. There were no flashing blue and red lights, and it was not one vehicle. It was 3. 3 identical black SUVs being driven in a tight, disciplined formation. They were moved with a purpose and speed that was deeply unsettling. They were not here by accident. They were coming for me. The 3 black SUVs were pulled up and stopped about 50 yards from my wrecked truck, and the gruesome scene was illuminated in a cold, sterile glare by their headlights. They were big, heavy-duty vehicles, the kind that are used by the government, with tinted windows so dark you could not see inside. They were completely unmarked. No license plates, no government seals, nothing. Doors were opened on all 3 vehicles simultaneously, with a quiet, efficient click. Men started to get out. There were at least 8 of them. They did not look like cops. They did not look like paramedics. Simple, dark, utilitarian clothing was worn by them, like tactical pants and jackets. They were moved with a quiet, practiced professionalism that was far more intimidating than any police uniform. They did not speak to each other. They just moved, and his exact role seemed to be known by each man. I was approached by 2 of them. They were both tall, fit, with short, military-style haircuts. Their faces were grim, emotionless. "Are you the driver of this vehicle?" was asked by the first one. His voice was flat, calm, devoid of any curiosity or surprise at the carnage around him. "Yeah," was croaked by me, my voice hoarse. Something was hit. It was run out in front of me. "Are you injured?" was asked by the second man, and I was scanned up and down by his eyes, not with concern, but with cold assessment. "No, it is not thought so by me, just shaken up." The first man was nodded slowly. "The situation is being handled by us, Mr. Miller." My blood was run cold. My name was known by him. How could my name possibly be known by him? No one but my brother had been called. "My ID, who is on this road, is known by us, Frank," he said, and my first name was used now. The casual intimacy was terrifying. "You are needed to come with us. You are going to be taken somewhere safe, to be checked out." While he was talking to me, the other men were already at work. They were moved like a well-oiled machine. Some kind of portable floodlights were being set up by 2 of them, and the entire scene was bathed in a harsh white light. A massive, thick black canvas tarp was being unrolled by 3 more. Another was taking photographs, but with a professional-looking camera, and the scene was being methodically documented from every angle. It was a cleanup operation. A highly efficient, almost silent cleanup operation. "Who are you people?" was demanded by me, my fear turning to a desperate anger. "Are you feds? FBI?" A thin, humorless smile was just given to me by the man. "We are the people by whom things like this are taken care of. Now please, come with us. The area needs to be cleared." They were not asking, they were telling. I was flanked, and a firm hand was felt on my elbow, guiding me towards one of the SUVs. I was looked back at my truck, at the body of the creature that was about to be wrapped up and spirited away into the darkness, to be erased from existence. "Wait," I said, being pulled back. "My phone." Pictures were taken. There is proof. A look was exchanged by the 2 men. It was a fleeting, almost imperceptible glance, but it was filled with meaning. The calm expression of the first man was hardened slightly. "That phone will be needed by us, Frank," he said, his voice no longer even pretending to be friendly. "No," I said, and the phone was clutched in my pocket. "This is evidence. This is the biggest discovery in human history. People need to know." The second man was stepped in front of me, and my view of the scene was blocked. He was a big man, and his shadow was fallen over me. What was seen tonight was a large, disoriented animal. A bear, most likely. You were in an accident. You are in shock. Tricks are being played on you by your mind. It was the first lie, the beginning of the story that was being built for me. "That was no bear," I snarled. "What a bear looks like is known by me." Its face was seen. It had hands. A sigh was let out by the first man, a sound of weary impatience. "Give us the phone, Frank." I was not moved. In that moment, the phone was the only thing that made any of this real. It was my only connection to the truth. His voice was not raised. I was not threatened. He just nodded to his partner. The second man was moved with a speed that was shocking. My arm was grabbed, twisted behind my back, and I was slammed against the side of the SUV. The air was rushed out of my lungs. My face was pressed against the cold, tinted glass. Before I could even react, my pocket had been reached into, and my phone had been pulled out. It was handed to the first man, who glanced at the screen. Then it was slipped into his pocket. "This was for your own good, Frank," he said, his voice calm again. "You are going to be thanked by us for this later." I was put in the back of the SUV. The doors were locked with a heavy, final-sounding thud. Through the tinted window, the cleanup was watched as it continued. The massive, hairy body was rolled onto the black tarp by the men. It took 4 of them to do it, and they were straining with the effort. It was wrapped up tightly, being secured with thick straps, until it was just a large, anonymous black bundle. Another vehicle had arrived, a large, unmarked flatbed truck, the kind that would be used to transport heavy machinery. A small, portable crane was used to hoist the tarp-wrapped body onto the back of the truck, and it was secured under another, larger tarp. It was being erased. Every last trace. I watched as something was sprayed on the asphalt where the creature had bled by a couple of the men. A fine mist from a silver canister. The dark, black pool of blood was fizzled and foamed. Then it seemed to just be dissolved, and the pavement was left clean and black. The whole operation took less than 20 minutes. They were impossibly efficient. When they were done, the road was clear, except for my wrecked truck. The creature was gone. The blood was gone. It was as if it had never happened. One of the men came to the window of the SUV and knocked. The driver, another silent, grim-faced man, it was rolled down. "The scene is sterile," the man said. "Asset is secured and en route." "What about his rig?" I was looked back at by the driver, then at the man outside. The official story is a single vehicle accident due to driver fatigue. A patch of ice was hit by him, jackknifed. The rig will be towed to a secure impound lot. It will be scrapped. Total loss. It was all planned. A story was had by them, a protocol for this. How many times had this been done before? The SUV started to move and was pulled away from the scene. And my life's work, my Peterbilt, was left a mangled wreck in a ditch. As we drove away, a standard local tow truck was seen arriving, its lights flashing. The handoff was seamless. The official world was now taking over from the shadow world. I was alone in the back of the SUV, a prisoner, my heart a cold, heavy lump in my chest. The body had been taken. My phone had been taken. It was thought by them that all the proof had been taken, but it was not known by them about the single photo that had escaped into the ether and had been sent to my brother. And it was the ride in the SUV was silent and dark. Where we were going was not known by me. We were driven for at least an hour, and the main highway was turned off onto smaller, unlit roads. We were eventually pulled up to a nondescript building that looked like a warehouse or a small factory. set back from the road and surrounded by a high chain-link fence topped with barbed wire. There were no signs, no company names, just a blank, gray, concrete building. I was led inside, not to an office, but to a small, windowless room. The walls were the same dull gray as the outside. There was a metal table and 2 chairs. It was cold. I was told to sit by one of the men who had picked me up on the highway. Then he left, and the door was locked behind him. I sat there for what was felt like an eternity. The only sound was the low hum of the fluorescent lights overhead. I was running on pure adrenaline and terror. The crash, the sight of the creature, the arrival of the cleanup crew were all being replayed in my head. This was real. This was happening. This was not some backwoods police station. This was something else entirely. Finally, the door was opened, and a different man walked in. He was older, in his 60s, with thinning gray hair and a tired, academic look. A simple tweed jacket and glasses were worn by him. He did not look like a thug or a government agent. He looked like a college professor. He was sat down across from me, and a thin file folder was placed on the table. It was not opened. "My name is Dr. Eris Thorne," he said, his voice calm and measured. "I am here to help you understand what was happened tonight, Frank." "What happened is known by me," I said, my voice hard. "A creature, a monster, was hit by me. And then your men showed up and it was stolen. And my phone was stolen." Dr. Thorne just nodded slowly, a small, sad smile on his face. "Frank, you were in a very serious accident. Your truck, a Peterbilt 389, was jackknifed after what appears to be a loss of control on a downhill grade. You are lucky to be alive. It is very common in such situations for the brain to be experienced trauma, for false narratives to be created to make sense of a chaotic event. The gaslighting had begun. It was so calm, so reasonable. It could be seen how it would work on someone who was less sure of what had been seen by them. It was not a false narrative, I insisted. It was 9 feet tall, it was covered in hair, and it had hands. Pictures are had by me. "Ah, yes, the pictures," he said, and the file folder was tapped. "Your phone was examined by us. The photos that were taken were inconclusive. Mostly blurry images of your wrecked truck, distorted by the flash and the shattered windshield." "That is a lie!" I shouted, and my fist was slammed on the table. The sound was echoed in the small room. Dr. Thorne did not flinch. "Frank, memory can be affected by stress. Details that were not there can be created by it. A large black bear was hit by you. It is seen to happen on that stretch of road from time to time. Tragic, but not unheard of. The animal's body was badly damaged in the collision. In your state of shock, an attempt was made by your mind to turn it into something more significant. A story. A monster from a campfire tale. He was so good, so practiced. My reality was being twisted, and an attempt was being made to make me doubt my own eyes. Then where is the bear? I challenged him. Where is the body? Let it be seen by me. The animal had to be disposed of according to state wildlife protocols, he said smoothly. It is a public health issue. That is why the response was so swift. Teams that specialize in these kinds of highway clearances are had by us. Every answer was a neat, plausible lie, designed to seal up the truth in a concrete box. But one card was left to be played by me, my ace in the hole. I leaned forward. My voice was dropped to a low, intense whisper. All the pictures were not gotten by you. Before my phone was taken by your goons, one was sent. It was sent to my brother. The best one. The one of the face. So your story about the blurry bear is not going to work, because the truth is already out there. His face was watched closely, and a reaction was looked for. For the first time, the calm, academic facade was faltered. It was just a flicker, a tightening around his eyes, a slight compression of his lips. But it was there. A nerve had been hit. He was silent for a long moment. The file folder on the table was opened for the first time. A single piece of paper was slid across the table towards me. It was a picture of my brother, Dave, standing on his front porch, smiling. It was a recent picture. "David Miller," Dr. Thorne said, his voice now cold, all pretense of kindness gone. "Lives at 435 West Pine Street, Spokane. Married to a woman named Karen. 2 children, Emily and Josh. All about David is known by us, Frank. And it is known by us that a message was received from you tonight. A picture." My heart was turned to stone. He had been gotten to. "This was told to us by you," Dr. Thorne continued, his voice like ice. "Just now. It was confirmed. And by doing so, a very serious complication has been created. Not for us, for you, and for David." The implied threat was hung in the air, thick and poisonous. "Before, you were just a man by whom something had been seen that should not have been," he said, and he was leaned back in his chair. "You could have been treated, compensated for your truck, and sent on your way with a The fear that was felt was a different kind now. It was not just about me anymore. My family had been put in danger. "What was done to him?" I whispered. "Nothing," Dr. Thorne said. "Yet. David is fine. He is at home, sleeping. It is probably thought by him that your message was a prank, but he is being monitored by us. And if that photograph ever sees the light of day, David and his family will be found in a world of trouble. Audits, investigations, legal problems. Things that come out of nowhere and lives are ruined by. Is this understood?" It was understood perfectly. This was how they operated, not with violence, but with the slow, crushing weight of bureaucracy and intimidation. "So what happens to me?" I asked, my voice hollow. Dr. Thorne stood up, and the file was closed. "That is the complication, Frank. You cannot be let go now. You are a risk. A man by whom the truth is known, and by whom proof is had, however tenuous, is a man who cannot be trusted. But killing you would be messy, unnecessary. Other ways to ensure silence exist." He walked to the door. "You see, a man who has photographic proof of a monster is a threat. But a man by whom it is claimed that photographic proof is had, who rants about monsters and government conspiracies, and whose brother denies ever receiving such a picture, well, that man is not a threat. He is just a tragic case. A poor, crazy soul who needs to be cared for. Permanently." The door was opened, and 2 large orderlies came in. They were not the men from the highway. They were dressed in hospital scrubs. A syringe was being held by one of them. "Do not worry, Frank," Dr. Thorne said from the doorway, his face a mask of false sympathy. "Very good care is going to be taken of you. You are going to be helped to get better." A fight was attempted, but it was useless. They were strong and efficient. A sharp prick was felt in my arm, and a cold liquid was spread through my veins. My body was grown heavy, my mind fuzzy. The last thing that was seen before the darkness was swallowed me was Dr. Thorne's face, and I was being looked down at with an expression that was not pity, but triumph. The monster had not just been taken. I was being turned into one. Waking up was like being swum up from the bottom of a deep, dark ocean. My thoughts were thick and slow, my limbs heavy as lead. The first thing that I was aware of was the softness of the bed. It was not my sleeper cab bunk. It was a real bed, with clean, crisp sheets. The second thing was the light. A pale, sterile light was filtering in from a large window. My eyes were forced open. I was in a room that looked like a cross between a hospital room. A set of light blue pajamas was being worn by me, not my own clothes. On my wrist was the plastic bracelet, Frank Miller, and underneath it, a series of numbers. I was no longer a name. I was an inmate, a patient, a number. The door was opened and a woman in a nurse's uniform came in. She was smiling, a bright, professional smile that did not reach her eyes. "Good morning, Mr. Miller," she said cheerfully. "It is seen by me that you are finally awake. My name is Nurse Jacobs. How are you feeling? Where am I?" I slurred, my tongue feeling thick and clumsy. "You are at the Northwood Recovery Center," she said, her smile never wavering. "You were brought here last night after your accident. You were very agitated. Rest was needed by you." My pulse was checked, her fingers cool and efficient on my wrist. An attempt was made to sit up, but a wave of dizziness was washed over me. The drugs were still in my system. "What was given to me?" I asked. "Just a mild sedative to help you relax," she said. "Dr. Finch will be in to see you shortly. Everything will be explained by him." She left as quietly as she came, and the door was clicked softly shut behind her. I was alone again. My legs were managed to be swung over the side of the bed, and I was stood up, my body protesting. I was walked to the window and looked out. A perfectly green lawn, a few carefully planted trees, and a high brick wall were seen. It was a pretty prison. A few hours later, the door was opened again. This time, it was him. The man who was going to be my jailer. He was a tall man, impeccably dressed in a tailored suit. He had a calm, handsome face, sharp blue eyes, and a smile that was all professional charm. He looked more like a CEO than a doctor. "Frank," he said, and a hand was extended. "It is a pleasure to finally be met by you properly. I am Dr. Alistair Finch. Your care here at Northwood will be overseen by me." His hand was not taken. I was just stared at by him. He was not Dr. Thorne, the academic interrogator. This was someone different, smoother, more dangerous. His hand was withdrawn without any sign of offense, and he was sat down in the chair by the desk. His legs were crossed, the picture of relaxed authority. "It is understood that a very difficult few days have been had by you, Frank," he began, his voice a smooth, reassuring baritone. "A profound effect on the mind can be had by a traumatic event like your accident. Confusion, memory distortion, even vivid hallucinations can be caused by it. What was seen is known by me," I said, my voice low and steady. "It was determined by me not to let my fear be seen by him." "Of course you do," he said, his smile patient, condescending. "What was seen felt completely real to you. That is the nature of these episodes. A powerful narrative is created by the mind to protect itself from the raw trauma. In your case, it seems a fascinatingly detailed story involving a cryptid, a creature from American folklore, has been constructed by you. It is really quite remarkable." He spoke as if a work of fiction was being discussed, a case study in a medical journal. "My job," he continued, "is not to tell you that what was seen was not real. My job is to help you come to that conclusion on your own. Through therapy, through rest, and with the help of some medication to clear the fog of stress, you can be guided back to reality." "And what reality is that?" I asked. "The reality where you are a hard-working truck driver, by whom the wheel was unfortunately fallen asleep at, and a terrible accident was had. The reality where an elk or a patch of ice was hit, and a monster was invented by your mind under extreme duress. That is the reality where you get better, Frank. That is the reality where you eventually get to leave this place." There it was, the terms of my imprisonment. Their lie was to be accepted, and maybe, someday, I would be free. It was to be fought, and I would be here forever. A fascinating case study for Dr. Finch. "And my brother?" I asked. "The photo?" Dr. Finch's smile was tightened almost imperceptibly. "Ah, yes. Your brother David was spoken with. A very concerned man. It was confirmed by him that you have been under a great deal of stress lately. It was said by him that a message was received from you. but it was just a blurry photo of a wrecked truck. He was very worried. Your treatment here is fully supported by him. It is believed by him that it is what is best for you. He had been gotten to. He had been threatened, or lied to, or both. My own family had been turned against me, and they were made unwitting accomplices in my imprisonment. The lie was complete. It was airtight. So that is it, I said, and a wave of hopelessness was washed over me. I am just supposed to be sat here until it is agreed to be crazy? Not crazy, Frank. I was corrected gently by Dr. Finch. Unwell. And the first step to getting well is for the acceptance that help is needed. He stood up, and his suit jacket was smoothed. We will be talked again tomorrow. The nurse will be in with your medication shortly. Please, cooperate with the staff. We are all here to help you. He left, and I was alone with the crushing weight of their perfect, unbreakable lie. I was walked to the window, and the brick wall was looked at. A prison for my body had not just been built. One was being built for my mind. And I was terrified. Sasquatch was seen, was gone forever, and was replaced by Frank Miller, the poor, delusional truck driver. The days at Northwood were bled into one another, a monotonous cycle of medication, therapy, and quiet observation. The drugs that were given to me were subtle. I was not turned into a zombie by them, but the sharp edges were sanded off my thoughts, and it was made harder to hold on to my anger, my certainty. I was made compliant. My daily sessions with Dr. Finch were a masterclass in psychological manipulation. I was never directly called a liar. Instead, I would be guided through my own story, and the inconsistencies, the improbabilities would be pointed out. So, Frank, he would say, being leaned back in his leather chair, this creature that was seen by you, it was 9 feet tall. How was its height determined so precisely? In the dark, after a major collision, it was seen against my truck, I would reply, my voice sounding weak even to my own ears. How tall my truck is known by me. And the hands, he would continue, and a note would be made on his pad. You were very specific about the opposable thumbs. Is it not possible that in the chaos of the moment, what was expected to be seen was seen? That the details were filled in by your mind, already primed by folklore and campfire stories? My confidence was being chipped away at, piece by piece. My own words were used against me, and my certainty was twisted into evidence of my delusion. My past was brought up, my long, lonely hours on the road, my divorce 10 years ago, the death of my father. It was all woven into his narrative. I was a lonely, stressed man, predisposed to a psychological break. The Sasquatch was just the form my breakdown had taken. The other patients were a strange, sad collection of people. There was a woman, by whom it was believed she was a Russian princess in exile. A young man who was terrified of the color blue. An old man who was just sat in the common room all day, and a blank television screen was stared at by him. At first, it was thought they were just genuinely mentally ill people, and I was the sane man who was trapped in the asylum. But then, listening was begun. A man named Arthur was met during recreational hour in the garden. He was a former accountant from Portland, a quiet, bird-like man with nervous eyes. One day, we were sitting on a bench, and he was leaned over to me, his voice a low whisper. "Do not be convinced by them," he hissed. And I was not looked at. Whatever was seen by you, it was seen. This is done by them. It is twisted. "What was seen by you?" I whispered back. Arthur was flinched, and a look was made around to see if any orderlies were watching. I was an auditor for a big aerospace company. Something was found. A black budget project. Numbers that did not add up. Trillions of dollars, Frank, over decades. Going somewhere. Off-world. A manifest was seen. A shipping list. Strange alloys, biological samples. Things that did not make sense. He was trailed off, his eyes wide with fear. The next day, I was called in by my boss. He was worried about my stress levels. 2 men in suits came to my house. My wife was told I was having a breakdown, and then I was here. Another patient, a young woman named Sarah who mostly kept to herself, once told me in a moment of clarity that she had been a geology student. A perfectly geometric structure, miles wide, buried 1,000 feet underground, had been found by her university team using ground-penetrating radar in the deserts of New Mexico. Before their findings could be published, their funding was pulled, their data was seized, and she was committed by her family after a sudden, violent episode she could not remember. They were all here for the same reason. They were inconvenient. A truth that was not meant to be known had been stumbled upon by them. A secret SASQUATCH roadkill, a hidden space program, a buried alien city. The details were different, but the pattern was the same. Something is seen that should not be, and you end up at Northwood, where you are helped to get better by Dr. Finch and his team. We were a collection of loose ends, all neatly tied up in this quiet, comfortable prison. My fear began to change. It was no longer just the fear of the creature in the woods. It was the fear of this silent, invisible system. A machine that was designed to edit reality, to curate the truth. And it was a machine that was slowly grinding me down. The medication was making it harder for the details of that night to be remembered. The face of the creature was getting fuzzier in my mind's eye. The sound of the impact was fading. Sometimes, late at night, a sliver of doubt would creep in. What if Finch was right? What if I was just a tired, stressed-out trucker by whom a bad crash was had? What if this whole place was exactly what it claimed to be? That doubt was the most terrifying thing of all. Because if my hold on the truth was lost, if they were let to win, then I really would be crazy. And I would be trapped here forever, not by the brick walls, but by the prison that had been built inside my own skull. It was known by me that something had to be done. I had to fight back, not with my fists, but with the one thing that could not be taken from me. My story. The decision for everything to be written down was a turning point. A purpose was given to me. A secret mission within the monotonous walls of Northwood. It was a way to fight back, to preserve the truth before it was completely eroded by the drugs and Dr. Finch's therapy sessions. But I had to be smart. I could not just be sat at my desk all day and have things scribbled about. Wanted by him, had to be given. A therapy journal was started. During the day, long, rambling entries about my supposed stress would be written. The loneliness of the road, the long hours, the pressure of deadlines were written about. My failed marriage was written about, the details embellished to make it sound more traumatic. Dreams I never had, anxieties I invented were described. Pages were filled with the kind of self-pitying nonsense that I thought would be wanted to be seen by him, from a man on the verge of a breakthrough. And it worked. Dr. Finch was delighted. "This is excellent progress, Frank," would be said, the pages being tapped with his pen. "The real sources of your anxiety are beginning to be confronted by you. The layers of the delusion are being peeled back by us." It was seen by him as a sign of his success. It was seen by me as camouflage. My real writing happened at night. After the last check by the orderly at 11 p.m., a few hours of relative privacy were had. The floor tile under my bed was slightly loose. It had been carefully worked with the edge of my plastic meal spoon until it could be lifted. The space beneath was small and dusty, but it was perfect for the pages to be hidden. I had to be careful about supplies. Paper and pens were given to us freely by the orderlies, and we were encouraged to journal. But if too much was used, they might get suspicious. Only 1 or 2 extra sheets at a time started to be taken, and they were hoarded like treasure. In small, cramped handwriting, it was written to fit as much as possible onto a single page. For it all to be written down was agony, but it was also a strange kind of relief. As I was forced to recall every detail of that night, the memories became sharper again. The smell of the creature's blood, the weight of its body as my truck was hit by it, the cold, emotionless eyes of the men by whom it was cleaned up. For it to be written down was like it was being anchored in reality. It was made solid and real again in the face of their constant gaslighting. The crash was written about. The interrogation with Dr. Thorne was written about. My conversations with Arthur and Sarah and the other inconvenient truths that were hidden away in this place were written about. I was no longer just telling my story. A secret historian of the forgotten and the silenced was being become by me. The risk was immense. If I was caught, what would be done was not known. My medication might be increased until I was a drooling vegetable. I might be put in solitary confinement. Whatever it was known that it would mean the end of any hope of the truth being gotten out. There were close calls. One night, a surprise check was done by an orderly an hour after the last one. His keys were heard jangling in the hallway, and just seconds were had to shove the pages under my mattress and for sleep to be was shined into the room, the beam sweeping across my face. Then he was moved on. I lay there for an hour, not moving, until my heart rate was returned to normal. Another time, a cleaning crew came to wax the floors. I had to watch in silent terror as all the furniture was moved, their polishing machine humming right over the loose tile where my manuscript was hidden. Miraculously, it was not noticed by them. The more that was written, the more it was realized that this manuscript was more than just my story. It was my sanity. As long as it was being written by me, it was known that I was still me. Frank Miller, the man by whom something impossible was seen and who lived to tell the tale. The pages that were hidden under my floor were the real me. The man who was sat in Dr. Finch's office and his feelings were talked about was just a mask, a character that was being played in order to survive. After about 2 months, nearly 50 pages were had. A detailed chronological account of everything that had happened. The story was almost complete. Now, the hardest part came. A story was had, a weapon. But a weapon is useless if it cannot be gotten out of the cage. A way had to be found to smuggle my paper trail out into the world. And that meant someone had to be trusted. In a place that was built on lies, trust was the most dangerous gamble of all. For someone to be trusted at Northwood was like for a specific drop of water in the ocean to be found. The staff were all part of the system, either willing participants like Dr. Finch, or just people by whom their jobs were being done. Unwilling for the truth behind the pleasant facade to be seen, the other patients were too broken, too paranoid, or too deep in their own worlds to be reliable. But there was one person, a young orderly named Ben. He was different from the others. He was maybe 20 years old, and his way through college was being worked. Kind eyes and a nervous energy were had by him. The other orderlies were either bored and cynical or overly officious. Ben just seemed out of place. The hard, detached look of the others was not had by him. The patients were looked at by him with something that resembled genuine sympathy, not clinical pity. He was started to be observed. His routines, his interactions were studied. He was often on the night shift. He was quiet, and he seemed uncomfortable with the more forceful aspects of the job. He was once seen to hesitate when his medication was being roughly forced to be taken by the old man who stared at the TV by another orderly. Then had looked away, a flicker of disgust on his face. That was my opening. It had to be played carefully. My act of the recovering patient was continued. Excellent progress was being made. Participation in group therapy was started, and manufactured breakthroughs were shared. I even told Dr. Finch that it was beginning to be understood by me that the Sasquatch was a metaphor for my own inner beast of loneliness. He was practically glowing with pride. Privileges were earned by my good behavior. One of those was access to the library. It was a small, sad room with outdated books and old magazines, but it was a place where Ben could be talked to with a little more privacy. My chance was waited for. One night, he was the only orderly in the library, and books were being reshelved. He was approached, my heart pounding. "Ben," I said quietly, "can something be asked of you?" He was looked up, startled. Sure, Frank, what is up? Is it ever felt by you that this place is wrong?" I whispered. His eyes were widened, and he immediately looked towards the door. "What is meant is not known by me," he said, his voice a little too quick. "This is a good facility. People are helped here by us. Are we?" I pressed, my voice kept low. "Or are they just helped to forget?" My eyes would not be met by him. He went back to shelving a book, his hands trembling slightly. "I just work here, man. It is a job. It is known," I said. "And it is known that you are a good kid. That is why you are being talked to. You do not belong here, Ben. A conscience is had by you." What he was doing was stopped, and he looked at me, his face a mixture of fear and curiosity. "What is wanted, Frank?" This was it, the moment of truth. "Something needs to be mailed for me," I said. "A letter, a thick one, to a journalist. No return address. Just have it be put in a mailbox a long way from here. You can be paid. Money has been saved up. It can be gotten to you by my brother." He looked horrified. "No way. That cannot be done. My job would be lost. Serious trouble could be gotten into." "You are not just going to be fired, Ben," I said, my voice cold and hard. "If it is found out, you will be ended up in a bed down the hall from me. Too much is known by you. The files have been seen. It is known by you that some of the people in here are not crazy." He was paled. The mark had been hit. Things had been seen by him. Things had been heard that did not add up. "A story has been written down," I told him. "The truth about what happened to me. Why I am really here. The truth about this place. These people need to be exposed. Help can be given by you. You can be the one by whom the whistle is blown." It was being laid on thick, and an appeal was being made to his sense of morality. But also he was subtly being reminded that he was already complicit. He was silent for a long time, and the book in his hands was just stared at. "Why should you be believed?" he finally whispered. "A story is had by everyone here, because proof is had by mine," I said. "And a picture is had to prove it. A picture that is out there, in the world. That is why they are so scared of me." A condensed version of my story was told to him. The crash, the creature, the cleanup crew, the threat against my brother. As I spoke, the doubt in his eyes was seen warring with a dawning horror. "It will be thought about," he said finally, his voice barely audible. He would not look at me. He just turned and was walked out of the library, and I was left alone with the silent, dusty books. If I had succeeded, or if my own death warrant had just been signed, was not known. For the next 2 days I was completely avoided by Ben. My eye would not be met. I was sure I had been reported, and I was braced for the arrival of the orderlies and Dr. Finch, but nothing happened. Then, on the 3rd night, he was on duty outside my room. As his rounds were done, a piece of paper was slipped under my door. His footsteps were waited for to fade down the hall before it was picked up. There was one sentence, scrawled in nervous handwriting. "Next Tuesday, have it be left in the library, inside the copy of Moby Dick." The week leading up to Tuesday was the longest of my life. Every day was a tightrope walk of feigned compliance and barely concealed terror. My therapy sessions were attended. My medication was taken. My empty smile was smiled. The part of the healing patient was played, all while the secret manuscript, my 50 pages of truth, was felt like a lead weight under my bed. The final pages of my story were written. Arthur and Sarah were described. Ben and my desperate plan to get this account out into the world were written about. It was written that if this story was ever read, it would mean that Ben had come through, that a flicker of decency had survived in this place. It was ended with a plea to whoever might read it. The picture is to be found. My brother, David Miller, in Spokane, is to be found. The truth was started with a roadkill, but it is ended with you. The final touch was the address. It needed to be sent to someone by whom it would be taken seriously. Someone by whom it would not just be dismissed as the ravings of a lunatic. A journalist was thought of, a guy named Marcus Thorne, no relation to the interrogator, it was prayed, by whom a controversial blog dedicated to government cover-ups and unexplained phenomena was run. He was a long shot, a fringe figure, but he was the kind of person who might just be crazy enough for me to be believed. His name and P.O. box address were written on a separate sheet of paper. On Tuesday night, my heart was a frantic drum against my ribs. It was waited until after the 11 p.m. check. The orderly on duty was not Ben, which was a relief. The manuscript was carefully retrieved from under the floor tile. The stack of pages was felt impossibly thick. It was slipped, along with the address, inside the large manila envelope that had been managed to be snagged from the library's supply closet. Then the hard part came. I had to get to the library. My good behavior meant my door was not always locked at night, a privilege that was given to patients who were deemed low risk. The door was cracked open and I peered out. The hallway was empty, cast in the dim, humming glow of the overhead nightlights. I was moved as silently as I could, my bare feet padding on the cold linoleum floor. Every creak of the building, every distant cough, a jolt of ice was sent through my veins. The library was at the far end of the hall. It felt like a mile away. I was slipped inside, the door being whispered shut behind me. The room smelled of old paper and dust. The literature section was quickly found, my hands scanning the spines in the dim light. Melville, Moby Dick. The heavy book was pulled from the shelf. My hands were shaking as it was opened and the manila envelope was placed inside. It fit perfectly. The book was pushed back into its place on the shelf, the manuscript now hidden in plain sight. My part was done. It was all up to Ben now. I was crept back to my room, my body awash with a strange mixture of terror and relief. It had been done. I had fought back. Whatever happened next, I had not gone down silently. I was gotten back into bed, but it was known that sleep would not come. I just lay there, the ceiling being stared at, the quiet hum of the building being listened to. The creature was thought about, its dark, intelligent eyes staring into my headlights in its last moments of life. The cold efficiency of the men by whom it had been erased from the world was thought about. They were so powerful, their conspiracy so vast. What was my little stack of paper against all of that? It was a fool's hope, maybe, but it was the only hope I had. I must have been drifted off at some point because I was jolted awake by a sound that was not part of the building's usual nightly groans. It was the sound of footsteps in the hallway. Heavy, deliberate footsteps. More than one person. They were moving with a purpose. They were stopped outside my door. I was sat bolt upright in bed, my blood turning to ice. This was not a routine check. This was wrong. Silence. Then a new sound. The jangle of keys, different from the orderly's keys. This was heavier, more official. Followed by the sharp, metallic sound of a key being slid into the lock of my door. They know. My eyes were darted around the small, white room. There was nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. The hunt for truth was felt the same. The lock was turned with a heavy, final click. This is where my story is ended, for now. Who is on the other side of that door is not known. Maybe it is Ben, caught and forced for me to be betrayed. Maybe it is Dr. Finch, his charming smile gone, ready for my treatment to be escalated. Or maybe it is someone who has not yet been met. Someone from even higher up the chain of command. If this manuscript will ever leave the library is not known. If Ben will make it out is not known. But it has to be believed that he will. It has to be believed that this story, my truth, will find its way to you. My name is Frank Miller.
Dude, what is that?
We should get the hell out of here. I'm not getting near that.
We all do crazy stuff when we think nobody is watching us. And this is the case with every living being on Earth. From tiny aliens, suspected UFOs, and guardian angels, to weird sea creatures and mountain witches. Let's start today's journey where a camera captured what no one was supposed to see. Man vanished. This Ring camera recorded a man walking on the street at night, but just after a few seconds, he appeared to have vanished in thin air. It was in the middle of the camera's view, so we cannot say that he may have walked to the edge of the view. Now, how did this happen and who exactly was the man? This answer remained unknown as the woman whose camera recorded it said she had never seen him before. Fish crossing road. A year ago, people in Washington saw this weird phenomena happening. A number of fishes were seen crossing the road. Just like you and me, they were all so shocked to see how these salmon fishes were showing this unusual behavior. However, this scenario is the result of the river flooding. What you're seeing are salmon going from a field that they've been washed into, back across the road to get back into the river to continue their journey. This doesn't happen very often, but when it does, some salmon that get washed out do this to make it back. A flipping spider. What you're seeing right here is a spider which is newly discovered. When the researchers saw it for the first time flip-flopping its way through the desert, they were astonished. At first, it was thought that something might have triggered such behavior. However, later it was observed that this was a new species, and this spider was unlike all the others, and it only does its cartwheeling when trying to get away from a predator. Dog walks on water. We don't know what this dog was thinking, but he sure did surprise all the humans with his supernatural ability to walk on the water. Every single person in the party was just left shaken. It almost seems like something out of the movie The Secret Life of Pets. Do you think it could be based on a true story? Talking raven. Ravens are incredible beings and are considered to be one of the smartest birds. But one quality of theirs makes them more special than anyone else, and that is the way they can imitate human voices.
Hi. Hi. Good bird.
For instance, this clip shows a couple recording a raven perched on a stone, then try to make the bird imitate them, but at first, it doesn't seem to care. But then, all of a sudden, the raven starts repeating what they say.
You alright, man? You alright? You alright?
It even says, "I'm alright."
I'm alright. You alright? You alright? I'm alright.
A poop fest. If you think penguins are just fluffy birds just walking here and there in the coldest regions on the Earth, well, you're wrong, because these penguins are actually having way more fun than any of us. Just that their style of having fun is a little unusual, because what they do love is to poop over one another. Now, I know, it might sound gross and you might go all ew hearing this, but they enjoy it a lot. And who are we to judge, right? Elephant steals food. Humans and animals have been living together for decades, and this year-long relation has led to us understanding each other pretty much. For instance, take the elephant as an example. Years and years after passing the same road, he has come to know that a truck passes the same road every day with lots of sugarcane. So, what did the elephant decide to do? He decided to take a shortcut to get food and steal from the truck whenever he gets the chance to. Ice balls. These tourists were out looking and admiring the natural beauty when one of them discovered this strange thing happening. He found a waterfall where the water was turning into perfectly round ice balls.
Ice balls.
Don't they just look perfect? And if you're thinking of hitting a friend with it, don't play with them or use them as weapons because they'll hurt. A strong bug. Bugs are often thought of as tiny creatures that anyone can easily squash, aren't they? However, This particular bug defies that stereotype and proves that size doesn't always equate to weakness. Its grip was one of the most powerful I have ever seen, clinging to the machine with an unyielding force that seemed to say, "Go ahead and try to break free." Isn't that truly remarkable? A grateful kangaroo. This kangaroo was stuck and had come to the conclusion that he cannot do anything about his situation and needs the help of humans. That is why he did not resist or punch the men who came to help him. Instead, after getting saved and safely on the land, he stood there, calmly waiting for the humans to shake his hand.
Oh, he's thanking ya.
Such bizarre creatures. Not especially friendly, but impossible not to love. A sea lion. So this photographer thought she'd get some cool shots of these seals up close by laying low on the ground. But one of the seals spotted her and decided to check out what's going on. Next thing you know, this huge baby elephant seal is flopping over to investigate. And before she knows it, she's getting squished. Apparently, the seal weighed over 100 kilograms. But the best part is, she and her husband couldn't stop laughing even though she was flattened like a pancake. Meerkats. Have you seen this video where a photographer was trying to capture some pictures of meerkats in their natural habitat? Well, the meerkats were not too happy being ignored, and they decided to check out the photographer instead. They climbed up on his head, back, and even his camera. These moments were called magic moments by the BBC, and we totally get why. Cartwheeling dolphin. This video features a man showing off his cartwheeling skills in front of a dolphin enclosure. At first, one curious dolphin tried to imitate him, but gave up after one attempt. But then another dolphin arrived and was totally into it. She mimicked every single cartwheel the man did, as if she was trying to impress him. I mean, who knew? Maybe the dolphin did get a crush on the man, right?
This is so cool. This is... Oh my god.
Chimp washing cloth. Be it monkeys, chimps, or gorillas, they are all said to be the most intelligent animals on Earth. And they imitate humans almost perfectly. For instance, see this one chimp who was recorded by a camera washing a cloth. Then it cleaned its hands and face with it. The caretakers had no idea where the animal had picked up this habit. According to them, no one ever did anything like that in front of the chimp. But then, where did he learn that? Lion and deer. Take a look at this unlikely pair taking a leisurely walk through the woods. It's a lion and a deer. Can you imagine? This trail cam clip is truly special, considering lions are notorious predators and rulers of the jungle. Yet here we witness a deer fearlessly following a lion, as if they're old chums or something. Who knows what really happens in the animal world? But one thing is certain, this video is guaranteed to brighten your day and put a smile on your face. A Sicilian. What you're seeing right here might look like a worm to you, but just look at its fang-type teeth and the whole head. This is not a worm, folks. It is called a Sicilian, and these are amphibians. Yup, just like frogs. They just lack arms and legs. But as they lack, their nature made them the only amphibians to have fangs. Fishing cat. Have you ever heard of a fishing cat? No, it's not a cat that likes to go fishing with a rod and reel. These adorable felines are the only ones in the world that specialize in catching fish. While other cats may nibble on a fish occasionally, these guys are pros at it. Found in South Asia, fishing cats are known for their unique hunting style. They dive face first into the water to ambush their prey. Turtle helps turtle. This video shows two turtles hanging out together, when suddenly one of them flips over and can't get back on its feet. But what happens next is truly heartwarming. The other turtle comes to the rescue and uses its head to push and help the struggling one roll back over. This behavior has been seen among turtles a lot of times. When one rolls over the other, one comes running to help. Chimp sweeps floor. This amazing chimp was seen sweeping the floor in his cage with a broom. It's incredible, right? According to his caretaker, the chimp learned this behavior by simply watching them sweep the floor. Apparently, she's usually the one cleaning up the enclosure, but this clever chimp decided to lend a hand. A friendly deer. This man was sitting in the woods minding his own business when this little guy decided to come up to him and give some company. What did he want in return? Just some scratches under his neck. That is all the payment needed for such nice company. And look at that cute face. Smart fish. Every time I hear about catfish, they're always doing something wild. Now in India, these slippery swimmers are taking to land and learning how to walk. Don't they have enough space in the vast ocean? Apparently not, as they venture onto land in search of grub. I don't know about you, but to me it's kind of freaky to see so many of them scurrying about. What a strange sight. Sloths. If you thought sloths were nothing but lazy critters, prepare to have your mind blown. Because it turns out they can move pretty darn fast when they want to. I mean, check out the footage of those little guys attacking those humans with lightning speed. Honestly, it's probably best to give them their space and let them do their sloth thing without disturbing them. Who knew these seemingly laid-back animals had such a surprising burst of energy in them? Weird creature in woods. While on their routine bike ride along steep tracks, a group of bikers encountered a terrifying experience that would haunt them forever. As they ventured deeper into the forest, a strange humanoid creature suddenly emerged from the side of the track and quickly started running away. The sight of the creature caused one of the bikers to lose control and fall off his bike. Shocked, the biker with the camera attempted to chase after the creature, but to his surprise, it vanished into thin air, leaving him bewildered. A friendly seal. As Vincent Vajera was enjoying a leisurely fishing trip off the coast of California, he got an unexpected visitor, a friendly seal who decided to hop aboard his kayak. Initially, Vincent was a bit startled, but he quickly realized that the seal just wanted a hug. The adorable creature snuggled up to Vincent and refused to leave, creating a heartwarming moment that was caught on camera.
Here's my new friend. He jumped aboard out at the bridge.
Despite several attempts to coax the seal back into the water, the little guy just wanted to stay and hang out with his new friends. A mermaid. Check out this crazy footage captured by some guys in Israel. They managed to catch what looks like a real-life mermaid on camera. The quality isn't great, but you can totally see the creature chilling on a rock before diving back into the water when it notices the guys creeping up.
Oh my god! What is that?
Do you think this thing was the real deal or just some kind of hoax? We want to hear your thoughts. A beluga whale's crush. If you think you're the only one crushing hard on all those Korean oppas, well, you're wrong, because it isn't just us humans, but these beluga whales too who love Korean men. This beluga whale has such a big crush on her trainer that it refuses to kiss anyone else but him. And waits all day for just him to come to her and play with her. The other two males have to be separated from her because they like her so much that she finds them annoying. A close call. This guy was out in the wilderness filming a video, just minding his own business, when all of a sudden, he sees something bolting towards him like a bat out of hell. And guess what? It's a freaking mountain lion! Yeah, you heard me right. This guy is staring down a big, wild apex predator. But you know what's even crazier? He manages to narrowly escape like a boss. This dude had a seriously close call.
No, you taste, dude.
But he lives to tell the tale, and we're all glad he made it out in one piece. Woman helps kangaroo. This little guy had his hands burnt in a forest fire and didn't know what to do. So he came to the humans for help. And lucky for him, this kind woman was there to lend a hand. It's incredible how calm and trusting the kangaroo is while the woman tends to his wounds. Bear chases snowboarder. So this girl was snowboarding as usual, but then something unexpected happened to her. She was singing a song while getting on her board, and once ready, she started riding. Suddenly, she noticed a glimpse of a bear chasing her from behind, but she didn't fully comprehend what was going on. Thankfully, the girl was quick enough to escape the bear and unknowingly saved her life. A weird creature. This weird little thing was recorded deep underwater, transforming into different shapes. The researchers, the people on the internet, in fact, every single person who saw this was shocked to his core, wondering what this creature could have been and what other superpowers it might hold. Can this be an alien? I mean, I can't help but wonder, you know? an unusual friendship. An incredible video aired on an Indian news channel featuring the most mind-blowing thing ever. A leopard visited a cow every night, and they had their own secret friendship going on while the human snoozed. Upon investigation, it was discovered that the cow had taken care of the leopard when it was a baby, and now the leopard was not ready to let go of its caregiver. How sweet is that? A bizarre fish. So these scientists saw a super weird fish and were totally confused. But then something crazy happened. The fish suddenly shrunk its mouth down really fast, and everyone was shocked. It turns out that the fish is called a gulper eel, and it has a special kind of mouth that can puff up to eat big things. This fish is really interesting because of its cool mouth and the way it moves around. Overall, it's pretty amazing. A mouse deer. The secrets hidden in the deep forest seems endless, and we never know what we might find. Recently, a trail camera in Vietnam caught a glimpse of a rare two-tone mouse deer that scientists thought had vanished 30 years ago. It was strolling around leisurely as if it owned the place. It's amazing that some of these unique animals have managed to escape hunters and predators, giving them a chance to flourish in their natural environment. Flying snakes. Have you ever heard of flying snakes? Yeah, you heard that right. Flying snakes. A viral video making the rounds on the internet recently showed these slithering creatures taking to the skies. But don't worry, they're not flapping their wings or anything. They're actually gliding through the air. These incredible creatures, known as Chrysopelia, have the ability to contort their bodies and flatten their ribs to cover a significant distance after launching themselves into the air. It's an amazing feat that allows them to travel between trees with ease. Who knew snakes could fly? A pelican. This pelican was recorded by a man trying to eat a capybara. I mean, we know and I know that he knows that the capybara is too big for him, but no, that won't stop him from doing that. And then he is just left all embarrassed because he did not succeed. A dinosaur. Even though the video is made by an amateur and we don't know who made it, it's perfect for our list. Can you imagine that there's a pterosaur flying in the sky? We know about pterosaurs because of fossils in movies, but we can't see them anymore. But some lucky people saw one and filmed it. I'm happy we have the video. Do you think it's real or just for attention? An embarrassed gator. Most folks would bolt to the side of an alligator, but not these guys. This couple not only keeps one as a pet, but also knows how to make it blush. When the gator struggled to chomp down some grub, it got bashful and decided to give up and take a dip in the water instead. Aw, poor fella. Lazy ducks. A group of folks caught some ducks being super chill. Even when the water dragged them toward the brink, they were like, nah, whatever. Everyone was freaked out, but little did they know that these feathered friends were just messing around. As soon as they got close to the edge, they flapped their wings and flew to safety. Sneaky ducks. Crab builds its house. Check out this super cool video of a crab making its very own sand and water home. It's not every day you get to see something so unique and amazing, and it's mind-blowing to watch how the crab constructs its shelter with such accuracy and speed. By building its cozy little house, the crab can keep itself safe and hidden from any danger lurking around. Deer eating squirrel. Have you ever noticed that when people think no one is watching, they tend to do the most bizarre things? Well, apparently the same goes for deer too. Recently, I witnessed a deer chowing down on a meaty snack when it thought no humans or cameras were around to catch it in the act. This made me rethink my whole perception of deer. I used to think of them as peaceful grass-eating creatures that kept to themselves, but now I'm not so sure. A baby dinosaur. Apparently, a baby dinosaur or something that looks like it was spotted running around the city on CCTV footage. It's got us all wondering, could it be possible that dinosaurs still exist? I mean, how crazy would that be? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think it's legit or just a prank? Swimming gator. Whether it's alligators or crocodiles, we've always seen them as fierce predators. But have you ever wondered what these reptiles do when they think no one's watching? Well, picture this. A gator lazily floating around in a pool, seemingly enjoying the refreshing water. It's almost like they're having a chill moment, just vibing with themselves. Seeing them like this, it's hard not to find them kinda cute, right? Red crab's migration. On Christmas Island in the Indian Ocean, a spectacular natural phenomenon takes place every year. Millions of red crabs embark on an epic journey from the forest to the coast to mate. This journey begins during the rainy season and is protected by park rangers who block off roads and construct temporary fences along the migration path. As the crabs reach the coast, they engage in a frenzied mating ritual before the females lay up to 10,000 eggs each. The island becomes a sea of red as the crabs cover the landscape, creating a breathtaking and unforgettable sight. A witch. This spooky video was recorded in Mexico in 2006. You can see a mysterious figure flying through the sky on a broomstick. Some people think it's a witch. The locals had been talking about these witches for ages, but nobody had any proof until this footage was taken. The witch's flight looks a bit shaky, so maybe she's a new witch still practicing her flying skills. The subscriber's pick. This image was taken from a video which shows some researchers doing something strange. You can see a group of people dressed in white and yellow on a deserted beach. They seem to be picking up something from the ground and putting it on a stretcher before taking it away. And of course, we can even see the tail of a creature in the video, which only points in one direction. A mermaid! How crazy is that? Adorable wolves. Wolves are always considered to be the ferocious, the dangerous, the stay-away type animals. But these wolves, I don't want to stay away from them. Looking at the way they're all cuddling and kissing each other, don't they look like the most adorable beings right here? What do you guys think? A ghost. Let's check out this clip caught on a home security camera outside a house. You can hear faint footsteps before a blurry figure appears and moves across the screen. Since the video quality is poor, it's hard to make out any details. Is it a prowler or could it be something paranormal? Upon closer inspection, the figure seems to briefly disappear when it reaches the center of the screen. This leaves us wondering if it's just a camera glitch or if there's something more sinister going on. A chupacabra. These two men kept hearing strange voices from their backyard and eventually decided to go check. But what they did not know was that they were in for a surprise. A huge monster was seen running to hide from them, but that did not stop the friends there. They had to go check, and that is when we see the terrifying face. The video ends right there, so let's just hope both of them are okay. An alien. The folks who were used to discovering fishes on the shore were taken aback when they stumbled upon a strange human-like creature that had washed upon the beach. It appeared to be a miniature version of a human, with a slimy coating all over its body and small limbs. The more they examined it, the more it mystified them, especially when they observed it breathing and slightly shifting its eerie body. What do you think it was? A creepy being. While a farmer was out with his goats and cows, he sensed that something was not okay. So he took his camera out and started checking the area. And what he found was this creepy black creature with big horns at the very edge of his property. Even though the creature did not look interested in coming near or harming the man, it was still good that he only recorded the thing and did not try to go near. An angel. This incredible video was taken in Jakarta, Indonesia on September 11, 2011. You can see a radiant winged being that looks like an angel descending from the sky and touching down on the ground before taking off again. When people saw this video, they started calling the figure the Angel of Jakarta. Some people even thought it might be a guardian angel sent down. However, there's always a chance that this might be fake. A strange woman. In 2016, a strange video surfaced online showing a woman shopping at a mall. Suddenly, an item falls behind her, and she puts it back on the shelf. Then she starts acting weirdly, as if something is controlling her. She drops her shopping and writhes on the floor, screaming loudly. Her screams even push the onlookers away. As the man in black tries to hold her down, the woman calms down, but then lets out a final scream, which makes objects in the store move and the security camera flicker. A mystery light. This video was filmed by a guy from Mexico. Some people who have watched it are saying it's one of the most clear sightings of a UFO ever caught on camera. Against a totally dark sky, you can see a weird blue circle that looks like it's morphing into different shapes. Apparently, this man had this strange thing hovering over his house for about a half an hour before it vanished. What do you think it might be? A waterbender. Have you seen this video that's been going viral lately? It's really interesting. Nobody knows where it's from, but it seems to have been filmed in Africa. In the video, a group of people are gathered around a woman standing in the water, and it looks like some sort of ritual is taking place. But then something crazy happens. All of a sudden, the water recedes super fast, and the bay is completely dry where others are standing. People freaked out and said that the shaman caused the water to shift using some kind of divine power. But nothing was ever explained by anyone. A witch. A bizarre figure dressed in white was spotted standing directly under the window of a house where the mother and her baby had been only moments before. It appeared as though the figure knew where the family was located. The incident left the woman feeling shaken and terrified, with no logical explanation for what had just happened. Some say it was a witch, while others think it was something else. Still, it remains a mystery. A levitating creature. Whether it was an extraterrestrial being or simply an optical illusion, this video is fascinating to watch. A large group of individuals gathered to witness this bizarre creature, which appeared to be levitating in midair while wearing wings on its arms and feet. Although it resembled a mermaid or an alien, it actually looked more like a boy. However, the reality behind the levitation was not as mysterious as it seemed. In fact, it was just a simple trick involving thin strings that helped the individual hover in the air. A UFO. A pilot was on his usual routine, flying a plane from one city to another. But what he did not know was that he was about to come across a sight he had ever imagined, a UFO. Now, for those of you thinking it was just a balloon, those don't fly forwards, they go upwards. And also, balloons do not have this kind of speed. So, nope, that wasn't a balloon. To me, it totally looks like a UFO. Bigfoot. In this video, Rick Dyer, a self-proclaimed Bigfoot tracker, claimed to have killed the elusive creature. The video shows a tense moment where the massive beast attacks the man holding the camera. Afterwards, Dyer provides a few pictures, claiming they're of the Bigfoot he killed. So do you think it was really a Bigfoot that he killed, or was he just lying straight away? A cheetah. This clip features an American tourist who got an unexpected guest on a safari in Tanzania. Well, Britton Hayes from Seattle got a special visitor in the form of a cheetah who jumped right into the back seat of his vehicle. And if that wasn't wild enough, another cheetah decided to join in on the fun. Poor Hayes was frozen with fear, praying he wouldn't become dinner for the big cats. Weird sea creatures. A few years ago, there was a video that became really popular online. It showed a strange sea creature that some people had caught and filmed. A lot of folks believe it's the real deal and pretty creepy too. The creature looks a bit like a sea hare, but with some serious sharp teeth inside its mouth. Honestly, I don't know what it was up to, but it definitely gave me the heebie-jeebies. An open grave. While paying a visit to his loved ones in the cemetery, a guy stumbled upon something peculiar. He noticed a grave that was partially open and seemed like it was being destroyed. As he went closer, he was taken aback to see the remains of a body buried there, including a tall skeleton that was around 1.8 meters tall. But that wasn't all. There were other skulls and bones inside the grave, which hinted at some sort of witchcraft. However, nothing was ever really explained or cleared up. A mountain witch. This video features a man named Hassan, who is an explorer of witches. He voluntarily searches for witches, and in this particular video, he visits a witch mountain to find one. To his surprise, he actually spots a witch dressed in black clothes and holding a stick, which seems to be made from an animal skull. Initially, she was sitting at the cave entrance, but when she saw the YouTuber, she went inside and started mumbling some spells. Suddenly, a stone hit Hassan's face, which was a signal for him to back off as the witch didn't want to be disturbed. A clingy octopus. Imagine you're out scuba diving, and when you surface for air, you discover an octopus that won't let go of your back. In a recent video, a diver experienced this unexpected surprise and was trying everything he could to shake off the clingy cephalopod. Despite moving in different directions, the octopus wouldn't budge, and the diver started feeling uncomfortable with its sharp beak and sticky suckers. Perhaps the octopus just wanted a hug. What do you think? A ghost. As the driver was cruising down the Queensland Highway, little did he know that he was in for a surprise. As he continued driving, he spotted something unusual on the side of the road. To his shock, he and other onlookers saw a ghostly figure standing in the middle of the road. The ghost, which appeared to be a pure white child, was just a few inches above the ground. The eerie sighting quickly gained fame and was dubbed the Ghost Child by many. However, some skeptics argued that it might have been just a human baby who happened to wander in the middle of the road. A sea lion. Okay, so I've got a creepy story for you. A girl was taking a break near the harbor when, out of nowhere, a sea lion popped up, grabbed her, and dragged her into the water. Her family and bystanders freaked out, but luckily, a brave dude jumped in and rescued her. It was a shocking incident because sea lions usually don't attack people without a reason. The flashlight fish. The video showcases the mesmerizing flashlight fish, which are found in the deep waters of the Pacific Ocean. These unique creatures have special light-emitting organs located beneath their eyes that give them an otherworldly appearance. The lights can be used to attract prey or communicate with other fish. The video captures the fish swimming in schools, creating an incredible visual spectacle that looks like something out of a sci-fi movie. Watching these underwater titans move and glow in the dark depths of the ocean is truly a sight to behold. Flipping iceberg. These thrill seekers thought it would be a cool idea to climb a giant iceberg, but things quickly went south when a massive chunk of ice rolled over on top of them. Talk about a chilling experience. Luckily, they managed to escape with their lives, but let this be a lesson. Sometimes it's best to just stay on solid ground. Don't you guys agree? Strange lights. This video was recorded by some fishermen out on the Pacific Ocean, and it shows these really strange lights in the sky. They might be a group of lights or something, and they seem to be moving in unusual ways. Some people who had watched the video were convinced that these lights were actually UFOs, but no one had been able to provide a logical explanation for what they might actually be. It's totally a mystery till today. Millions of dead fish. Have you heard about the latest buzz in Australia's outback? Recently, a shocking video surfaced showcasing the aftermath of an unprecedented die-off of fish in a river. Due to extreme floods and hot weather, millions of fish have been left to rot in the river, resulting in a foul smell and a severe ecological crisis. However, there's some good news. Contractors have been hired to remove the rotting fish from the river. Crocodile mummies. Crocs, whether they're dead or alive, will always give people the creeps. While excavating ancient tombs, researchers stumbled upon 12 crocs buried in the soil. From a distance, they looked like they were still alive, with their textured skin appearing fresh and their teeth still intact in their jaws. It was a bit unnerving, as it seemed like they could open their jaws at any moment. The researchers were amazed when they discovered that the crocodiles had been buried for 2,500 years, yet were still in almost pristine condition. A cuttlefish. Have you heard of cuttlefish or cuttles? These little guys are actually fish found in deep parts of the ocean, and they're known to be highly toxic. But let's not focus on their dangerous side for now. Instead, let's talk about how incredibly unique and fascinating they are. Just take a look at their mesmerizing colors and reflections. It's no wonder they've been nicknamed the disco cuttlefish. And that's not all. They even have a way of hypnotizing their prey before attacking. It's truly a wonder to witness. A fire tree. We're all used to the idea that tree twigs and branches are handy for starting fires. But hold on to your hats, because this video is going to blow your mind. It shows the inside of a tree that caught on fire, and people think it was caused by a lightning bolt heating up the sappy insides, which conduct heat really well. Or if you're feeling mystical, maybe supernatural beings sparked up this awesome fire for their own bonfire. What do you think? Leave a comment below and share your thoughts. An elephant. Sometimes animals can be big, frightening, and downright terrifying, but every now and then they need a little help from us humans. Take this elephant for example. Poor thing was shot right in the head and was bleeding out. Obviously, elephants don't have a clue how to fix bullet wounds. So he approached some nearby humans, being careful not to scare them, and showed them the bullet lodged in his skull. Thankfully, the doctors acted quickly and did everything in their power to remove the bullet and treat the infection. Petting a great white. The shark saw the fisherman in the shallow water and decided to attack. But to the shark's surprise, the man did something unexpected. He petted the shark when it came out of the water, showing no fear of the shark's strong jaws. The fisherman even gently stroked the shark's side for a while before sending it back into the water. It's hard to tell if the shark enjoyed the encounter or if it was just looking for a chance to bite the man's hand. Woman on a tree. Nope, she wasn't a ghost. She was a real woman, standing on top of a fig tree and freaking everyone out with her creepy moves. People were shocked when they saw her standing on a delicate branch of the tree, dressed all in white. They called her the Spooky Lady because they couldn't understand how she was able to perform such stunts without any visible support. However, when she was rescued, it turned out that there was nothing supernatural about her behavior. Snakeheads. So there was this wild incident where a farmer found a snake's head in his backyard, and it was still alive. I mean, can you imagine that? The head was moving. It's pretty insane, but apparently snakes are different from other animals. When they lose their heads, they don't need a lot of oxygen to keep their brain going. So the head can actually survive for hours without the body. Crazy, right? Spinning dolphins. These dolphins are impressing everyone with their athletic abilities, jumping high and spinning 7 times in the air. And if that wasn't enough, they can swim at an incredible speed of 200 miles per hour and cover long distances in a day. Recently, a spy dolphin captured footage of these playful creatures having a great time off the coast. But it's not just their stunts that make them unique. They're also known for their intelligence. To avoid predators, these dolphins never fully sleep and always keep their brains partially awake. Humans in cage. Do you consider yourself brave? Would you be willing to step into a cage in the middle of a jungle where lions are roaming nearby, just to get a closer look and better look at these magnificent beasts? There's actually a tourist spot in Harrismith, South Africa, where they'll put you in an enclosure and leave you in the midst of lions. In a video, you can see an elderly couple sitting calmly inside the cage, while lions are roaming around and even sitting on top of the enclosure as visitors take pictures. The super cat. You might think of cats as grumpy creatures, but don't let that fool you. They actually care about us as much as we care about them. Just check out this clip where a cat saves a toddler's life. The baby was headed straight for the stairs, but the cat sprang into action and rushed over to prevent a nasty fall. What a brave kitty. And to make sure the baby stayed safe, the cat even sat guard at the bottom of the stairs to keep the little one from trying again. How sweet is that? An ostrich fight. Did you know that ostriches are the biggest and heaviest birds out there? Even though they're usually harmless and don't bite much, we found a video of one going berserk and attacking a man. A group of guys were just hanging out when suddenly the ostrich went after one of them. Made the bird so angry in the first place, doesn't it? A python. So let's tell you about this wild incident that went down in Thailand. One mom, Thanapum Laken, who's 42, woke up one morning to find their dead kitten in her house with bite marks all over its body. When she went to her son's room to investigate, she found a massive 10-foot python just chilling under the bed. Crazy, right? Well, she didn't waste any time and called for help, and luckily, the authorities were able to catch the python safely. Lekian thinks it's a miracle that her son wasn't sleeping in that room that night, and believes his guardian angel was watching over him. The morning glory clouds. Have you seen these amazing clouds that look like a giant snake in the sky? They're actually a rare meteorological event that only happens in certain parts of the world. This dude managed to capture them over Lake Michigan in the USA. Basically, it happens when the air is really humid in the early morning, and a cloud forms at the front of it, creating the leading edge of a cylinder. Pretty cool, right? A rat temple. Did you know that in India there's a temple dedicated entirely to rats? It's called the Karni Mata Temple, and it's situated in the city of Bikaner, right in the middle of the Thar Desert. Can you believe that over 25,000 rats call this place home? According to locals, every rat born there is believed to embody the soul of a family member, and they are considered sacred. People even drink the milk left behind by the rats after they take a sip. As much as I love dairy, I don't think I'd be able to handle that rat-infused milk. I might just turn into a hardcore vegan. The subscriber's pick. This image is taken from a video that went viral a few years back. At first, we see a car driving on a dark road, and out of nowhere, a bunch of guys dressed like Charlie Chaplin pop up. It's super eerie how they all stop and stare into the car, especially with that weird lighting in the background. And there's even a dude wearing a mask to make things even creepier. A scary shark encounter. This might be the closest close call with a white shark you'll be seeing here. The man with his friends was out diving, but seconds after he dived into the water, his friends started shouting, "Shark! Shark!" to him.
Shark! Shark!
He went under the water to see what it was, and there the white shark was swimming right beneath him. He tried swimming away as fast as he could, while continuously looking for the shark, and there it came again. This time straight towards the man, but somehow he actually made the shark turn the other way. Good thing it happened and the man came out of the water safely. Komodo dragon. The giant lizard that's basically a real-life dragon. These guys are massive. They're the largest living lizards in the world, and their venomous saliva is no joke. If they bite you, you could end up paralyzed or even dead. And let's not forget about those sharp claws and teeth. They're fierce predators that don't mess around. In fact, they've been known to attack and even kill humans who get too close. So if you ever find yourself in the presence of a Komodo dragon, just remember to keep your distance and give them the space they deserve. Otherwise, you might end up regretting it. Nile crocodile. If you ever find yourself face to face with a Nile crocodile in the wild, you better watch out. These big guys are not to be messed with. They are one of the largest crocodile species in the world and have a reputation for being quite aggressive. They've been known to attack humans and other animals without much warning. So it's best to keep your distance. Cone snail. This is a little guy that you might not expect to be dangerous. The cone snail. These colorful little snails might seem harmless, but don't let their size fool you. They pack a venomous punch that can cause paralysis and even death. I mean, talk about a small but mighty creature. So if you're ever strolling along the beach and come across a cone snail, be sure to admire it from a safe distance. After all, you never know what could be lurking beneath that pretty shell. King cobra. These guys are some of the deadliest snakes on the planet, and they can grow up to a whopping 18 feet long. That's longer than most cars, people! And let's not forget about their venom. It's no joke. If they bite you, you could end up with respiratory failure and possibly even death. So if you ever come across a king cobra in the wild, just remember to give them the space they deserve and admire them from a safe distance. After all, it's better to be alive and well than up close and personal with one of these deadly snakes. Blue-ringed octopus. This little dude may be small, but trust me, it's a ninja in disguise. Its venom is like a 1-2 punch that can knock you out and even kill you in just a matter of minutes. Those blue rings on its body may look cool, but they're actually a warning sign that says back off. If you see one of these guys while you're out swimming or diving, keep your distance and give it some space. But let's be real here. As dangerous as they may be, blue-ringed octopuses are still pretty fascinating creatures. Just don't let their small size fool you. They pack a deadly punch. Cassowary. The cassowary is usually known for its striking appearance, with its bright blue head and neck and a large bony protrusion on its head called a casque. However, these birds are also incredibly dangerous, with sharp claws on their feet that can cause serious injury or even death. Cassowaries are also known to be territorial and can become aggressive if they feel threatened. And when they do, get ready to run as fast as you can and as long as you can, because they will follow you as long as they can. Black mamba. Get ready to meet the Usain Bolt of the snake world, the black mamba. This slithery speedster is the fastest snake in the world, and with a name like Mamba, you know it's not something to mess with. So if you ever find yourself face to face with a black mamba, just remember to give them their space and back away slowly. Trust me, you don't want to challenge this sprinting serpent to a race. Mosquito. You know those pesky bugs that buzz around your ear and leave you itching and scratching all over? Yeah, those are mosquitoes, and don't let their small size fool you. These little bloodsuckers are responsible for more human deaths than any other animal on the planet. How, you ask? By transmitting deadly diseases like malaria, dengue fever, and Zika virus. Trust me, you don't want to mess with these tiny terrors. So next time you hear that high-pitched whine, grab the bug spray and protect yourself from the deadliest animal on Earth, the mosquito. Stonefish. If you thought getting a paper cut was painful, wait until you hear about the stonefish. This little fish may not look like much, but it packs a punch with its venomous spines that can cause excruciating pain, paralysis, and get this, the venom is so potent that victims have been known to beg for amputation just to stop the pain. So next time you're out snorkeling, be sure to watch where you step, or you might end up with a nasty surprise from the deadliest fish in the world, the stonefish. Brown recluse spider. This 8-legged terror is a master of disguise, blending in with its surroundings and striking when you least expect it. Its venom is like a slow-acting time bomb, silently eating away at your flesh until it's too late to stop it. And don't be fooled by their size. These tiny terrors can bring down a full-grown adult with just one bite. So watch where you step and check your shoes before putting them on, because the brown recluse could be waiting to strike at any moment. Stay safe, my friends. Great white shark. You know what's scarier than a shark in a horror movie? A real-life great white shark. These bad boys can grow up to 20 feet long and have a bite force that can crush bones. And let's not forget about their famous razor-sharp teeth. One bite from these guys can be deadly. So the next time you're swimming in the ocean, remember to keep your eyes peeled for the great white shark, the ultimate predator of the sea. Redback spider. These pesky little creatures are found all over Australia, and their bite can be a real pain. Their venom is no joke. It can make you feel like your whole body's on fire. And in some cases, it can even lead to death. That's why it's important to keep an eye out for these sneaky spiders and make sure you're not their next victim. But here's the thing. As much as we may dislike them, redback spiders are actually pretty fascinating creatures. They're part of the widow spider family, and their females are notorious for eating their male counterparts after mating. Talk about a bad breakup. Tiger shark. Check out the tiger shark, a big bad predator of the ocean. These bad boys have been known to attack humans and are one of the most dangerous sharks out there. With their razor-sharp teeth and incredible hunting abilities, they're a force to be reckoned with. If you see one in the water, it's best to give them plenty of space and let them do their thing. Cape buffalo. Africa's version of the Hulk. These big boys can weigh up to a whopping 2,000 pounds, making them one of the biggest and baddest creatures out there. And here's the thing, they're not afraid to throw down. They've been known to take on lions and even humans, and let me tell you, you don't want to mess with them. That's why they're also known as the Black Death. So if you ever find yourself face to face with one of these beasts, just remember to give them plenty of space and respect. Gila monster. This little dude might look like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie, but trust me, it's 100% real and 100% not to be messed with. Why? Because it's one of the only venomous lizards out there. That's right, this sneaky little guy packs a bite that can cause some serious pain and swelling. But here's where things get mysterious. Nobody really knows why it's venomous. Is it for hunting? Self-defense? Who knows? All we do know is that if you ever come across a Gila monster, it's best to give it some space. After all, you don't want to end up on the receiving end of a venomous bite from this cool but dangerous lizard. Poison dart frog. Get ready to meet the poison dart frog, the tiniest but deadliest amphibian out there. These little guys might look like they belong in a Disney movie with their bright colors, but don't be fooled by their cuteness. They're actually serving up a warning that says, "I dare you to mess with me." And you really shouldn't. You see, their skin secretes a venomous toxin that can knock you out cold faster than you can say ribbit. It's no wonder they're one of the most poisonous creatures on the planet. So if you ever come across a poisoned dart frog in the wild, do yourself a favor and stay far away. Trust me, you don't want to mess with these tiny but fierce frogs. Portuguese man-o-war. This thing is like a freaky alien that was plopped in the ocean. It looks like a jellyfish, but it's actually a whole colony of different organisms working together, like some kind of underwater Voltron. But don't be fooled by its trippy colors and otherworldly appearance. Those tentacles can reach up to 165 feet long and pack a punch like Mike Tyson in his prime. Its venom can paralyze you and send you straight to Davy Jones's locker. So if you're ever out for a swim in the ocean and you see this bad boy floating around, I suggest you swim in the opposite direction. Trust me, you don't want to mess with this sea monster. Piranha. Piranhas are notorious for their sharp teeth and aggressive reputation. I mean, who hasn't seen those crazy movies where they go on a feeding frenzy and chomp through everything in sight? But the truth is, these fish are usually pretty chill, unless they feel threatened. Sure, they might look like they're straight out of a horror movie, but if you don't mess with them, they won't mess with you. That being said, it's still pretty nerve-wracking to swim in water where they live. I don't know about you, but I'll stick to the pool, thank you very much. Anaconda. This slithering serpent is one of the largest and most powerful snakes in the world, capable of crushing its prey with its deadly constriction abilities. And when I say large, I mean large. These bad boys can grow up to 30 feet long. While they mostly stick to snacking on animals like deer and capybaras, they have been known to take down humans who dare to venture into their territory. So if you ever find yourself face to face with an anaconda, be sure to give it plenty of space, unless you want to end up as its next snack. Bull shark. Move over, great white, because this creature is the real danger to humans. With its sneaky ways, the bull shark is a master of deception and can strike at any moment. Unlike other sharks, this beast prefers the shallow, freshwater areas where humans like to cool off. It lurks in the shadows, waiting for its next prey to come into view. And when it does, it strikes with a ferocity that is unmatched. So, the next time you venture into the murky waters, be on the lookout for the bull shark, for it is a creature of mystery and danger, lurking just beneath the surface, waiting for its next victim to cross its path. Saltwater crocodile. Alright folks, let's talk about one of the most rebel reptiles out there, the saltwater crocodile. This monster can grow up to a whopping 23 feet long and weigh over a ton. I mean, that's like having a car-sized croc swimming around in the water. And let's not forget those jaws. They're so strong they can literally crush bones and even metal. So if you're ever in the presence of a saltwater croc, just remember to keep your distance and give them the respect they deserve. Box jellyfish. Now let's talk about this deadliest but the prettiest creature ever. It is the box jellyfish. Now don't be fooled by its delicate and almost see-through appearance. This thing is a silent killer. Its venom is so potent that it can cause heart failure and kill you in just a few minutes. So if you're ever out there in the ocean and spot a box jellyfish, swim the other way as fast as you can. Trust me, you don't want to mess with this deadly beauty. Hammerhead shark. The hammerhead shark has a head that looks like it was flattened with a hammer. But don't let their strange appearance fool you. These sharks are top predators in the ocean. They can sense prey with incredible accuracy, and their powerful jaws make short work of their meals. While they're not known for attacking humans, it's probably best to give them a wide berth just in case. Hippopotamus. The African river holds many secrets, but perhaps the most dangerous one lurks just beneath the surface. Beware the hippopotamus, for they may appear docile, but they are anything but. With a single snap of their powerful jaws, they can shatter bones and end lives in an instant. These massive beasts are responsible for more human deaths in Africa than any other large animal. Yet they remain shrouded in mystery. How can something so seemingly gentle be so deadly? Perhaps it is their ancient lineage, tracing back to a time when dinosaurs roamed the earth. Or maybe it is simply their fierce determination to protect their territory at all costs. Whatever the reason, one thing is certain: never underestimate the deadly nature of a hippopotamus. Pufferfish. Oh, the pufferfish. This little guy might look cute and harmless, But don't let its innocent appearance fool you. This fish is the Chuck Norris of the sea. It's a total spark plug. In some countries, it's even considered a delicacy. But let me tell you, it's not for the faint of heart. See, the pufferfish has organs that are filled with toxins that can take you down faster than a shot of tequila. One wrong move and you can end up paralyzed or even worse, dead. So if you're ever offered a bite of a pufferfish, make sure it's been prepared by a trained professional. Trust me, your life is worth more than a fancy meal. Blacktip reef shark. Blacktip reef shark. Don't let their size fool you. These little guys are tough cookies. They may be small, but they are sneaky predators that can attack humans, especially if you're hanging out in shallow waters. So if you're planning on going for a swim or a paddle in the ocean, keep your eyes peeled for these little guys. They might look harmless, but they have a reputation for being quite the troublemakers. But don't let that scare you too much. As long as you're aware of your surroundings and keep a safe distance from these sharks, you should be just fine. And who knows, you might even get lucky and catch a glimpse of one of these incredible creatures in its natural habitat. Australian funnel-web spider. If you're planning a trip to the land down under, beware of the Australian funnel-web spider. This arachnid is a real killer. With venom so potent, it can send you to the great beyond in just a matter of hours. And don't be fooled by its small size and cute little things. This spider packs a punch that will leave you gasping for air. So keep your eyes peeled and your spider sense tingling, because one wrong move and you could be in serious trouble. American crocodile. This is the American crocodile, a true titan of the reptilian world. The elusive creature can be found lurking in the shadows of both North and South America, patiently waiting for its prey to cross its path. With a set of jaws that could crush a steel beam like a toothpick, this beast is not to be trifled with. But there's something mysterious about this creature, something that draws us in and leaves us in awe. Perhaps it's the way it moves so gracefully through the water, or the way it can disappear in an instant, leaving no trace behind. Whatever it is, one thing is for sure. If you ever find yourself face to face with an American crocodile, you'll be in for one heck of a ride. Sydney funnel-web spider. Did you know that the Sydney funnel-web spider is basically the Australian funnel-web spider's BFF? And let me tell you, their venom is no joke. It can knock you out faster than a kangaroo bouncing on a trampoline. Plus, if you get bitten by one of these creepy crawlies, you could end up with respiratory failure or even die. So make sure you steer clear of these 8-legged critters if you happen to come across them. Safety first, folks. Elephants. The gentle giants that can turn into raging beasts. Now, I know we all love these intelligent and majestic creatures, but let's not forget they're also one of the biggest and most powerful animals on land. And when they feel threatened, they're not afraid to throw down. They've been known to attack and even kill humans who got too close to their turf. So if you're ever in the presence of an elephant, be sure to give them their space and show them the respect they deserve. Trust me, it's better to be safe than sorry when it comes to these big guys. Inland taipan. If you're not a fan of snakes, then you better steer clear of the inland taipan, mate. This snake is not to be messed with, as it's considered the most venomous snake in the world. Its venom is so deadly that it can cause multiple organ failure and can kill a human in less than an hour. Talk about fierce. Despite its fearsome reputation, the inland taipan is actually a pretty fascinating creature. It has an incredible sense of smell and can detect prey from miles away. Plus, its venom is being studied for its potential to help treat certain medical conditions. Who knew this lethal creature could have a softer side? The subscriber's pick. This image shows a huge predator of the world of water, with its weird horrifying mask and tentacles showing. We also see a boat nearby comparing, which we can see how big the size of the creature is. But well, no matter how creepy this may look, it's not real. Instead, it is an image created through Photoshop. Still, with the ocean being only 3% discovered, who knows? Maybe this actually might be real too. What do you guys think about it? Black caiman. This crocodile is like the Hulk of the animal kingdom. It's one tough customer. And let me tell you, if you ever find yourself in its neck of the woods, you better watch your back. This bad boy has been known to attack humans, so you don't want to mess with it. I mean, just imagine coming face to face with a creature that's built like a tank, has jaws that could crush a car, and is just itching for a fight. Yeah, I think I'll pass on that one. So, if you're planning a trip to South America, make sure you steer clear of this feisty dude's territory. Well, that's all for today, guys. Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for getting updates related to our latest videos.